If you'd told me a year ago that my quiet, picture-perfect neighborhood would turn into a federal crime scene, I'd have laughed in your face, and then probably offered you a cold beer just to hear what wild story you'd come up with. But I'm telling you now, hand on heart, I lived it. I saw the masks slip, the secrets spill, and trust crack like old paint in the summer sun. You want to know how it happened? Well, buckle up, because it all started with a $50,000 fine over a garage door and ended with the so-called guardian angel of our street in handcuffs, her smile twisted, her eyes promising that the worst was yet to come. It was a Saturday, early spring, the kind of morning where the sun looks like it's trying a little too hard to make up for a rough winter. My wife Laura and I were standing on our porch, coffee cups in hand, enjoying the hum of a neighborhood waking up. And then, bam, Karen's voice slices through the calm like a busted car alarm. "Officer, you need to do something. They're threatening me right now." There she was, 2 doors down, pacing her lawn, phone held up like a badge. I swear, if you looked up suburban drama in the dictionary, her picture would be front and center. I tried to keep my voice steady. "Karen, come on. It's a $50,000 fine for a garage door panel. Nobody's threatening anybody." But she just shot me that look, the one she reserves for HOA meetings when someone disagrees about where to put the tulip beds. 8 minutes later, here comes a cruiser, lights flashing all across the manicured lawns of Maple Ridge Estates. Officer Miller steps out. Young guy, pressed uniform, probably still calls his mom before bed. Karen nearly throws herself at him. "Officer, thank God. They refused to comply with legal HOA requirements." I was afraid for my safety. And she points at us like we're a couple of porch pirates caught red-handed. But then Miller sees Laura, and you could see every cop instinct in him kick in. He stiffens, voice cracking just a bit. "Commander Stone." "Ma'am, I didn't realize this was your residence." Now, Karen's face goes slack. Clipboard hits the driveway, her confidence draining like water from a cracked vase. You could have heard a pin drop. All those neighbors peeking through their curtains, joggers slowing down, pretending to tie their shoes just to watch the show. Laura keeps it cool, arms folded, professional, all business. "Officer Miller, what exactly is the complaint here?" That's when I realized, with a kind of sick twist in my gut, this wasn't about a garage door. This was about power, exposure. Karen thought she'd set a trap, but she just triggered her own. Only problem was, neither of us had any clue just how deep this mess went. The fine was just the bait. The real game? Oh, that was only beginning. Let me back up a sec. When Laura and I moved into Maple Ridge, I thought we'd landed in one of those towns you see on Hallmark Channel reruns. Every street lined with maples that blaze gold in October, lawns so perfectly edged you could run a spirit level over them, and neighbors who wave like they mean it. After a decade of wrangling high schoolers about the First Amendment, I craved peace. A place where the wildest thing that ever happened was someone's recycling bin rolling into the street. At the center of it all, Karen. She was everywhere, organizing food drives, hosting holiday parties, dropping off casseroles for new families. Lose your dog? She'd find it. Feuding with a neighbor about a fence? She'd mediate, grinning like she'd just solved the Middle East crisis. Marcus, the neighborhood handyman, told me once, we'd be lost without her. And you know, for a while, I believed it. Our first HOA meeting, Karen's up front, clipboard in hand, lighting up the room with jokes about lawn gnomes and fundraising car washes. Laura nudges me and whispers, "She's good. Too good." I shrugged it off, figured Laura's cop radar just didn't trust anyone who seemed too perfect. But looking back, man, she was right. Nobody's that involved without a reason. There were signs, little things. Karen showed up at our door with a casserole, asked about Laura's job, my teaching schedule. It felt friendly, but later I realized she was gathering intel, just like a detective builds a case. Every time you made a change, a new car, fresh paint, she noticed. If your kid left a bike out overnight, she'd slip you a copy of the regulation before breakfast. At first, I admired the efficiency. Then I started to wonder who carries a regulation binder around, just in case. Still, I chalked it up to some people just like control. Every holiday, she dropped off handwritten cards to every family. Every summer, she threw a block party with raffles and a bouncy castle. She was everywhere, always smiling, always watching. It felt safe. Too safe, maybe. David, Laura said one night as we walked our retriever past the glowing porches. Have you noticed how Karen always knows everything? I laughed it off. She's just plugged in. Some people are like that. Laura shot me a look. One of those cop stares that means, I'm not joking. No, some people are nosy. Karen is informed. A few weeks later, the letter arrived. Heavy paper, crisp envelope, the kind of thing you get from a law office, not an HOA. Black and white photographs of our garage door, paper clipped like evidence. The fine, $50,000. I laughed, a sharp, awkward sound that died fast. Laura scanned it, eyes narrowed. Violation of community standards. Section 12B. Garage door panels not consistent with approved design. She set her mug down slow. They're not bluffing, David. This isn't about the door. Someone wants to squeeze us. I marched the letter over to Karen's after her garden committee wrapped up. She was all fake sympathy. Rules are rules, David. Uniformity keeps property values up. I tried to argue. Laura pointed out that at least 7 other homes had the same garage door, none of them fined. For a second, Karen's smile twitched. Perhaps you've been flagged for additional review, she said. Flagged, like we'd shown up on some kind of neighborhood no-fly list. On the walk home, Laura muttered, she's targeting us. But I didn't want to believe it. Next day, Marcus stopped by to fix our sticking gate. We chatted, trying to pretend things were normal. By the way, he said, Karen asked me to take notes on property improvements when I'm out. Paint chips, hedges, for compliance. I froze. What do you mean, take notes? He shrugged. Just jot down stuff. She says it helps folks avoid surprises. Laura stepped out, arms crossed. Marcus, did she ask you to focus on our house? He hesitated, then nodded. Yeah, said she was worried you'd get blindsided. A favor, huh? My stomach churned. This wasn't neighborly. This was reconnaissance. That night, I grabbed a flashlight and walked the street. Counted mailboxes, checked heights, 7 too tall, 3 too short, half of them rusty or crooked. Only ours had been cited. I jotted the numbers in a notebook, hands shaking. Next afternoon, I came home from school and fumbled my keys behind Laura's plant display. My fingers brushed something cold, a tiny camera, pro-grade, hidden where it could watch our living room. My pulse raced. Laura, when she saw it, turned stone cold. This is law enforcement grade. These aren't for sale to the public. We sat in silence. Someone planted surveillance in our house, she said, eyes hard. This is about me. Who knows I'm a commander? That night, neither of us slept. Next morning, HOA text. Emergency meeting, tonight, 7 p.m. We walked into a full house. Neighbors crammed shoulder to shoulder, everyone whispering, eyes flicking between us and Karen. She starts. There's been troubling reports of surveillance equipment in our neighborhood. She was flipping the script before we could speak. Linda, always so sweet, stood up, voice trembling. If someone's planting cameras, how do we know our families are safe? Marcus backed her up, awkward, eyes down. Some residents are ignoring standards. It's a problem for everyone. The crowd murmured agreement. Karen's timing, her phrasing, it was too perfect. I stood up, holding the camera high. This was hidden behind our window, professional equipment, aimed inside my house. Gasps rippled, and I watched Karen's mask crack, if only for a heartbeat. She tried to spin it. Maybe someone's trying to make me look bad. Laura leaned in. She's turning them against us. After the meeting, Karen called the cops again, claimed we were threatening her. This time, Miller and another officer showed up, recognized Laura instantly. Their posture shifted. Commander Stone, everything okay? Karen sputtered, but the officers were already done with her act. Ma'am, HOA disputes are civil, not criminal. We don't enforce fines. That night, word got out. Laura's a commander. Neighbors started avoiding us. Karen, in her best worried church lady voice, whispered, having police living here means surveillance on everyone. You know how power can escalate. People started to pull away. Invitations dried up. Conversations stopped when we walked by. Laura tried to hide the hurt, but I could see it. Years of trust, gone in a week. That's when I went on offense. I knocked on doors, shared mailbox measurements, showed them the camera, the transcripts of Karen's contradictions. Some listened, some didn't. Marcus crossed over. She asked me to track you. Dates, times, Laura's schedule. He showed me a notebook. Pages of observations, all about us. And then came the twist. Walsh, Detective Walsh, financial crimes. He'd been poking around since we'd moved in. That night, Laura spread blueprints and a wiretap recorder on our dining table. We're going to catch him with his own words. I met Walsh at a diner, played the worried husband. He asked about the camera, knew the exact make and model, which he shouldn't have known unless someone had told him. Has Laura considered maybe someone in her own department planted it? I kept cool. Do you think Jane's job intimidates people? Walsh leaned in, low voice. If someone wanted to end your wife's career, community complaints are the easiest weapon. When Laura heard the tape, her eyes blazed. He's being fed information. Karen, Lisa, whatever her name is, she's in the middle. She brought it to her captain. Next day, Morrison staged a case review and played the tape for internal affairs. Walsh cracked, confessed. Lisa, aka Karen, had promised to fix his gambling debts in exchange for info on Laura. She wasn't even Karen. She was Detective Lisa Cooper, missing out of Chicago PD, wanted for theft. The next HOA meeting, Laura stood at the front, uniform crisp. Neighbors, we've all been deceived. Haley Sanders is Detective Lisa Cooper, wanted since 2020 for stealing $347,000. Linda cried. Marcus produced his notebook, evidence of months of surveillance. When we marched to Lisa's house, gone. Everything. Not a trace she'd ever lived there, except a steel file cabinet in the basement, full of dossiers, surveillance, bank statements, medical records, on families here and in 3 other towns. The FBI arrived. She's one of the most sophisticated infiltrators we've ever tracked, Agent Torres said. For communities, millions stolen. And we were the first to expose her. But it wasn't over. That night, Linda vanished. Her daughter pounded on my door, sobbing. We found Lisa, taser in hand, holding Linda in the boarded-up community center. SWAT moved in through a service corridor Marcus mapped out. After tense hours, flashbangs, and shouts, it ended with Lisa on her knees, smiling that same, unbreakable smile. Her last words as they cuffed her, "You have no idea what you've destroyed. This was bigger than me, and now they'll come for all of you." Courtroom, 8 months later, families from 4 states, listening to Lisa's crimes. Linda, Marcus, Walsh, they all testified. The jury heard how Lisa used kindness to gain trust, then leveraged fear to gain power, then money. In the end, the verdict was clear, guilty on 22 counts, 22 years in prison, $1 million restitution. Walsh got 3 years, plus probation, his badge stripped, his life in ruins. But the legacy? Congress passed a law mandating accountability for HOA leaders. Linda took over our HOA, Marcus runs a real neighborhood watch, Laura was promoted for rebuilding trust. Even our mailbox stands as a little memorial to trust restored. And me? I tell this story to my students, warning them that history isn't just about the big things. It's about what happens when trust is broken, and how ordinary people fight to build it back. But I'll be honest, sometimes, when the night is still and the wind rattles our old mailbox, I wonder if Lisa's warning was just a bluff. Or if one day, someone else will try to put the mask back on. So tell me, what do you think? Where's the line between protection and control, between neighborly concern and manipulation? Have you ever trusted someone, only to find out you were part of their game? Drop your story in the comments. Let's talk about justice, about trust, and about how you really know who you're living next door to.